Hello and welcome to episode 69 on 1999. This episode was written by Mike Ackelson. If you like this video, be sure to read his original article linked in the description. The image is unforgettable. Two teenagers wearing goofy looking ski masks are standing in an empty New York City subway station as a chaotic, old school sounding beat builds behind them, featuring sirens and bomb explosion sounds and anything else that might inspire feelings of anarchy. The words survival tactics appear between them in big yellow letters. Suddenly we're thrust into a uniquely new version of something we've seen a million times before, an aggressive, angry, lyrically dense, undeniably 90s sounding rap song. As he drops non-stop quotables and double entendres with easy confidence, close-ups on Joey Badass's youthful face indicates that this is not a long-lost member of the Wu-Tang Clan. In fact, it seems pretty clear he wasn't even born yet when Enter the Wu-Tang was released. It would have been easy at the time to write off the song as some sort of old-school hip-hop fanfiction, but the execution was too good, the talent was undeniable, and the mystery surrounding a kid who had just turned 17 years old a month earlier releasing something like this was absolutely captivating. A few months later, the full mixtape containing Survival Tactics arrived. 1999 was an instant sensation. After hearing the song Waves, Jay-Z immediately tried to sign the fellow Brooklynite. Joey said no. "I don't want to be signed to him, I want to be him," he would later say. Listening to 1999 at the time, that felt possible. Anything felt possible for him. The lyricism was packed with so many clever one-liners, so many complex rhyme schemes and double entendres, and so much honesty and vulnerability that it was impossible not to think about how Joey might have stacked up against the legendary 90s rappers he was trying to invoke. Some critics criticized him for drowning in his influences, but to characterize the project as a watered-down copycat is absolutely lazy and inaccurate. Sonically, the project doesn't break any new ground, but he's not exactly copying any one artist in particular throughout either. The mixtape may stick to one overarching sound, but there's more variety within that sound than people give him credit for. Jay Dilla produced track 14, Where It's At, and track 11, Snakes, while MF Doom himself produced track 8, Penny Royal, and track 7, World Domination. Joey's flow is just as competent on smoother tracks like Waves and Snakes as it is going scorched earth on Survival Tactics and Killuminati. 1999 is a celebration of an era, a love letter to boom bap. Boom bap as a style had a main drum loop that used a tough acoustic bass drum sample on the downbeats and an acoustic snare drum sample on the upbeats. Joey here takes the best aspects of some of the most revered rap albums ever and blends them into something familiar but fresh. Sure, anyone could have created a love letter to old school rap, but a love letter is only as good as the sincerity and conviction of the man with the pen. In this case, this was no gimmick. Joey was making music that came naturally to him, and it made an impact on the game. His references range from a huge variety of places, including Jean-Claude Van Damme, mathematics, and The Godfather, for example. The entire Beast Coast movement flooded into the spotlight behind the hype of 1999. It gave major momentum to a revivalist movement in hip-hop, a young genre that usually rallies around what's fresh and new. Beast Coast is made up of members from Pro Era, Flatbush Zombies, and the Underachievers, each with their own distinct sound. In regards to Joey, there's much more here than just an old-school sonic palette, a bunch of slick one-liners, and a charismatic young star. When you dig deeper at its core, this is a beautiful portrait of a confused, intelligent kid trying to will himself in the right direction. He sees negative outcomes plaguing the neighborhood and society around him, and he's desperately trying to use music as a tool to create something positive for himself. On Hardknock, he raps bluntly about his need to change his own lifestyle to live up to his potential and avoid the mass incarceration he sees around him. On Righteous Minds, he discusses how hard it is to live righteously when you know you could meet a senseless death at any moment. On the deeply personal Waves, he lays out his incredibly ambitious hopes and dreams, but only after describing the sad backdrop that makes him so desperate to shoot for the moon in the first place. His observations are incredibly keen for his age, but they're also often incomplete. His worldview is broad and lacks experience. His level of skill as a rapper and lyricist was more developed at the time than his depth as a thinker. And I believe that's actually a major part of the charm and enduring legacy of the tape. Take this line from the Jay Dilla produced song Snakes. Thinking like in the man garden, it's a snake now, 'cause I don't know who to believe or who to deceive. He's talking about lessons here from Adam and Eve being applied to the modern day, that if he was in Adam's place, his trust in the world would not be the same, that even small amounts of deception make him doubt the world as a whole. In verse 3 he has the line, trade in what's priceless, to ices and devices. When the light switch, I shift like I'm typing. In this sense, he's explaining how people often sacrifice meaning for materialistic gain, only realizing what they've spent as a result is not money, but their sanity. In essence, one sacrifices their soul to the vices of the world. The social commentary Joey comes up with is well written, well wrapped, and easy for young listeners to latch onto. Verse 3 in Snakes, for example, even has Joey questioning himself and his own judgment. When you look at the project as a whole, critically, it's not as deep as it sounds in your headphones. But if you think about it in the context of a frustrated 17-year-old kid who knows the system is built against him, but isn't entirely sure how yet, it has much, much more power. The track Daily Routine has Joey talking about how he's not like everyone else and how he's put all he had into music. This is a substantial claim since it seems he really dropped everything to pursue music when he could have gone in any direction. It's a link to authenticity that made it easy for people to gravitate towards him. We've all been that pensive teenager whose worldview is developing fast but not fast enough to fully understand the strong feelings and intuitions we have on the world we see around us. And that was Joey's gift. He was blessed with so much wit, charisma and ambition at such a young age that he appealed to the desire within us to see the world as an adult when we were still just a kid. As the Thewordisbond said at the time, he is a student of the greats, and although he may still be learning his trade, there's enough here to suggest he may one day take his own place amongst them. Joey has gone on to reach great heights in his career over the years, but to his biggest fans, 1999 will always be frozen in time. It can't be recreated, and it's not only nostalgic for the era of hip-hop it invokes sonically, but also the era in all of our lives between adolescence and adulthood that it channels so authentically.